Red Bull has done it again with mid-season sackings. Daniel Ricciardo has replaced Nyck de Vries at AlphaTauri. De Vries' momentum from his outstanding one-off performance with Williams at the 2022 Italian GP faded quickly after joining AlphaTauri full-time. But it seems like De Vries is pissed at Red Bull. Let's try and figure out why in this video. The Dutchman stumbled out of the gate, and after going pointless in the first 10 races and making several rookie mistakes, Red Bull decided that Daniel Ricciardo's Silverstone tyre test performance was enough to convince them that it was time for a change. The agreement sees Red Bull loan Ricciardo to AlphaTauri for the remainder of 2023, with Ricciardo's first appearance with the Faenza squad since 2013 taking place at the Hungaroring, home of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Red Bull has never been afraid to make harsh decisions when it comes to driver lineups, but was this one a little too harsh on De Vries? Was he given a fair chance, or did Red Bull make the correct decision to end this partnership? Given that Red Bull signed Nyck de Vries after dropping Juri Vips and failing to convince the FIA that Colton Herta was worthy of a super license, the Dutch driver has been up against it from the start. While Daniel Ricciardo swanned around like the ex-girlfriend who went away for a few years to find herself, De Vries' inability to keep pace with Yuki Tsunoda, the Japanese driver himself not clearly a super talent in his own right, quickly drew the ire of Helmut Marko, who wasn't shy about revealing Christian Horner wasn't on board with the signing in the first place. The fact that Sergio Perez has fumbled the bag so severely this year hastened De Vries' demise. While this hasn't been a major issue this season, as Verstappen has been a dominant machine, a closer fought fight would mean Perez's struggles could have cost the team dearly. So putting Ricciardo in the car for a test run in the year's second half is a great way to see if the Australian has what it takes to support Verstappen better next year. After all, Perez can easily switch to AlphaTauri without violating his contract. Red Bull has always stated that driver contracts are signed with the company rather than with individual teams. De Vries might have gotten more time to settle in if Perez had performed better. After all, more than 10 races is needed for a rookie racer to find their feet, with even AlphaTauri team boss Franz Tost insisting that 3 years is required to determine a driver's overall ability. The issue for all Red Bull drivers is that they are being compared to Max Verstappen, a generational talent. Almost all will inevitably fall short. De Vries deserved more time to prove himself, but his advanced age for a rookie, 28, combined with Red Bull's concerns about the lead team seat, meant there was simply no time for mediocrity. It's harsh but understandable, and De Vries has just witnessed the ruthlessness that has contributed to Red Bull's success. Unfortunately for De Vries, there are always two obvious factors working against him that would be extremely difficult to overcome. The first was his rookie status, and the second was his association with Red Bull. Ordinarily, deciding after 10 races that a rookie driver was not up to the task, having failed to score a point in arguably the slowest car on the grid, would be considered hasty, even by Red Bull standards. But De Vries was not your typical Formula 1 rookie. He arrived with expectations. He is 28 years old, has a Formula E and Formula 2 title, and has already made one impressive Grand Prix appearance at Monza in 2022, putting him on Red Bull's radar. The fact that it was Red Bull also worked against him, as this was a team made up of bosses who needed help understanding the meaning of the word patience. Was it a harsh move then? However, when Red Bull has demonstrated this same ruthlessness with their own driver program graduates over the years, consider Pierre Gasly as a recent example. The truth is that as soon as De Vries stumbled out of the blocks, the writing was on the wall. When emotion is removed, there is little to suggest Nyck de Vries was worth keeping around. He is one of only 2 drivers without a point, and while the other is 22, De Vries is 28. He is not a member of the Red Bull Academy, so his only money is the contract he received late last year. He appears to be a political hot potato and a potential source of contention between Helmut Marko and Christian Horner, the 2 senior Red Bull figures. Finally, with Williams improving at Silverstone, AlphaTauri faces being separated from the herd. While the decision to do it now rather than during the summer break appears to be surprising on the surface, a closer look reveals that there are 2 Grand Prix and a sprint before then. If Red Bull stuck with De Vries, they might be even further behind their competitors by July 31st. Red Bull is known for its ruthless decisions, and while those made with Gasly and Albon may be considered mistakes, it appears unlikely that the same will be said of de Vries at this point. Nyck de Vries, a promising talent, recently parted ways with AlphaTauri, shocking many with this mid-season shuffle. An eerie silence marked the departure, starkly contrasting Daniel Ricciardo's thunderous applause upon his arrival at the AlphaTauri factory. The video of Ricciardo's warm welcome, which was released by an Instagram page, has since gone viral, adding fuel to the fans' ire. Fans have taken to social media to express their outrage at what they see as Red Bull's unfair treatment of de Vries. Nyck deserved a proper send-off, read one comment, capturing the sentiment of many. In contrast to Ricciardo's grand welcome, the lack of a proper send-off for de Vries has raised questions about the team's regard for its drivers. While the debate over de Vries' departure continues, another aspect of this story is the overwhelming support Ricciardo has received, which leads us to the next section of our story. Daniel Ricciardo is no stranger to fame. The video of his arrival shows the team's enthusiasm and admiration for the Australian driver. However, the enthusiastic response has unintentionally sparked controversy. Fans have compared Ricciardo's reception to de Vries' quiet exit, sparking a debate about how drivers are treated in the sport. Let's take a look at some more Instagram comments with strong but conflicting feelings. I'm overjoyed for Daniel because he'll be running in Las Vegas, but my heart hurts. A damn goodbye didn't take so long and didn't cost anything. Nyck. AlphaTauri's lack of professionalism is revolting. Whether he was a good or bad driver, Nyck deserves at least a farewell post. However, what can we expect from Red Bull? I wonder if they changed the Formula 1 intro haha Nyck out, Daniel in. They still haven't acknowledged Nyck. If I were him, I'd be pissed like a goodbye doesn't hurt. What about Nyck? Please, this is heartbreaking. The opposing reactions of Nyck de Vries and Daniel Ricciardo have highlighted the disparities in Formula 1 driver treatment. While the debate rages on, one thing is certain. Regardless of status, every driver deserves a proper send-off. After all, respect for the drivers is as important as the thrill of the race in a sport fueled by passion. Nyck de Vries paid tribute to fellow Dutchman Max Verstappen and the role he played in helping him secure his first Formula 1 race seat. Despite interest from Williams, he will race for AlphaTauri in 2023 after an impressive performance on his F1 debut when filling in for Alex Albon at Monza. De Vries revealed Verstappen was the one who pulled some strings at Red Bull for his countrymen when asked how the move came about. Max and I have a great relationship, he said. Obviously, we are from a similar era. He is a little younger than me, but we both grew up in karting. We are both Dutch, and the way he approached racing with his father, driving around Europe in a van, I think was very similar to ours. Red Bull needs to understand things before it's too late. Please subscribe to the channel and share the video with your friends and family.